Hi.
Oh, wait. He's company. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hola.
That was awful. But there's no going back, so let's just keep going.
So this is T's company. I'm Ethan.
I'm Sam.
I'm Kay. This
And
is
today-
episode 2.
Today we're talking about Tiger King. And we're in a new format because social isolation and quarantine.
Yeah, it's kind of really hard to film a podcast when you can't be in the same area as people, even though Sam's literally downstairs because Sam is my roommate. But still, we're
I'm
social
only 2 hours
distancing.
away.
You are.
We're social distancing.
Well, with that, I know that everyone in the world has been going on and on about Tiger King. King Tiger. Yeah. So, I think...
I'm actually really excited to talk about this.
I am too. I think there's so much here to talk about culturally. Absolutely absurd shit. I don't even know.
Yeah.
So much that we could probably go on and on and on for hours. So hopefully we don't get too off topic. But I just think that it's a really interesting thing with everything going on right now. I think everyone's watching it too and consuming it because we're all quarantined. Because I don't know if people would have been obsessed with this show if it were any other way. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, my personal opinion, I'm just gonna put this out here so everybody knows, and you'll be able to tell most likely. Ever since Ethan was like, "You need to watch this. You need to watch this," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll check it out." And I just kind of was watching the trailer, and I was like, "What is this?" And I just I don't know. I just didn't really care for some reason. And then everybody was like raving about it, and I kind of started watching it. But honestly, I haven't even finished the first episode. But I think I'll be able to contribute some ideas and my thoughts. So, but yeah, I just think it's okay. I'm sure we'll pick up once I see all of the criminal action.
I feel like too, it'll be easier to talk about when we can kind of just explain it to you as well.
Yeah,
I mean, there's going to be spoilers in this.
I mean, you can react to all the crazy shit that we talk about, and you're gonna be like, "Does that really happen?" And we're gonna be like, "Yeah, it actually does."
I've done some research, so I'm not completely oblivious, but
I wish I would have stretched it out because I finished it within 2 days, and so I wish I would have stretched it out.
I watched it in one complete sitting. I'm kind of ashamed to admit
There's literally 8 episodes. That's 8 hours. You psycho.
Yeah, I literally sat there. I grew bed floors. I did nothing else. Mm-hmm.
How much Joe Exotic can you take at one time?
There's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was going to pass away afterwards.
He's the best character. What do you mean?
I am all Team Carol. Okay.
Yeah, that's an argument
Team
Carol. We'll have because I don't understand that at all. But okay.
I'm not ready for Halloween because everybody's gonna be Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin. I swear.
Yeah. I'm gonna be Doc Antle.
Okay. Well, in preparation for talking about all these crazy characters, what I guess we could call a cast. What are your just general thoughts about the show? In keeping in line with what did you like the most? What entertained you, and what was just completely off-putting?
Well, I'll go first because I watched it.
Sam has some.
Gross to Sam. Well, I was living for the drama. Per usual. What'd you say?
I said, of course you were.
I was living for it. I love the fact that they're all fucking nuts. And I was so surprised at I was and I wasn't for the sake of the act of surprise, I was surprised at how it ended with not being so much about the animals. When I first started watching it, I really thought that it was going to be just about the zoos and the people. I didn't know that there was so much other shit that went on that was legal issues, drugs, murder. I didn't realize anything like that. So when I was first watching it, I just thought it was a bunch of crazy people that had zoos, private zoos. And I didn't realize that private zoos are so popular.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny how the show becomes so much more than the tigers and the zoos themselves.
Well, like zoo culture is just so weird. Like the fact that that's a thing, people just have exotic animals and then like have them in their backyard. That's fucking crazy. And you can profit off of that. I don't understand how you're allowed to have animals that are considered endangered in your backyard and you just profit off of them. I don't understand how that's legal.
And they have their own culture, their own way of doing things and seeing things. They literally, I feel like they view the world and society as like, we can just break all the rules and kind of just say, I'm going to do what I want, regardless of what everyone else says and the rules that are out there, the laws. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're just catering to their own whims at every kind of.
Yeah, that's 110% true.
I have 2 thoughts. When I heard how much it costs to go,
I almost vomited.
It's like $300 something, and then if you get merchandise, you know that's going to be really expensive. Like,
yeah, because they have to pay. Not only they're paying for like all the tigers themselves, but the amount of money they put into food.
Dude, these places are still running though. Like these places are still open.
But don't the employers like get only like very low profit? Like they don't get that much paid, right?
The employees, it depends like which one they were working at. Carol Baskin, majority of her employees are volunteer based. I don't know how she brainwashed them into volunteering, but they're volunteer based. Joe Exotic pays his people like $100 a week. Mm-hmm. And then Doc Antle does the same thing. Like but his people are like,
they get paid like nothing.
Yeah, and they have to like, they don't get like actual rooms. Like the Doc Antle guy is so strange because I feel like they just like skipped over they literally gave him like 5 minutes of like talking about him, and it wasn't even him, it was a girl. Yeah. It was a survivor from his cult. He literally runs a cult. Like he basically grooms young girls into being his wives, and like we'll get more into like polygamy and stuff like later on, but he literally just like he runs this cult, and like they call him like God. It's so weird.
Dagavan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which means like God in like
the Indian
yeah. Mm-hmm. It's so weird. Like, that's so fucking weird. And they get paid, like, nothing. And, like, it's the whole cult mindset of, like, oh, you can leave if you want. But, like, he's, like, brainwashed them into, like, not. Because they don't have anything else. It's so weird. It's, like, this weird fucked up form of prostitution. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's, like, it's definitely coercion and trafficking at its finest.
It's so crazy. I feel like out of all of them, if I had to put myself in, I don't even know. Oh my God, I'm getting a phone call.
I wouldn't even, I couldn't live any of those lifestyles. They seem so imaginative. Like, it seems so unrealistic and fantastical. Like, for people to live like that and be in this sort of isolated world that is completely separate from you know, the bounds of what we deem regular society.
It doesn't feel real.
No. It doesn't.
Is there kind of like an investigation on like what you guys just told me about like the like trafficking part?
No, that's the thing that's crazy about it is that like there literally is nothing being done because these women are not like being like they're not technically being caught, like they're not being forced to stay. Mm-hmm. It's all like they want to stay. But the woman that got out that was like the bystander or whatever, she was explaining it and like I called her a survivor because she is.
She absolutely is a survivor. She knows what she went through is horrifying and messed up. She started getting close to one of the tigers. Do you remember this story?
Yeah.
And the tiger all of a sudden disappeared and died.
And like, that's the problem too, is that
her getting close to one of his tigers.
Every single one of these people like euthanized tigers in different ways, which is just like not okay. Like it's insane and like. Oh my God, it's just like I can't like this entire
it's
like
animal cruelty at its finest.
New culture is insane, and like I don't agree. I feel like if any of them, like the only one that I could see being somewhat successful in if it was used properly is Carol Baskins, because if she has the money to do it. She's the only person that has the money because she's rich because her husband disappeared. But like
Team Carol.
She has the money to like. What she should do is instead of like she should rescue the tigers and then nurture them back to health and then send them out to go back into the wild. She should not keep them.
Yeah, no.
And like her
She is a
place is
hypocrite.
awful.
Yeah,
Her
she
place
is.
is like cages. Like she has them in cages. She literally said, "Oh my god, this is when I like lost my mind." She said that it was wrong to keep cats in cages, and then it cut to her saying, "Well, we keep cats in cages because it's a better place for them to die." And I went, "Wait, what?" I was
Literally,
like,
my second thought was the hypocrisy with that. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. They're wild animals. They're meant to be in the
Literally.
wild. That's where they adapted. And then now you're just gonna do that.
Her place looks like a jungle.
Oh, her
it's not
interior
cat
decorator,
stuff.
I need their phone number.
I need to go there. I want to visit. I want to take a picture with Carol.
No.
So you actually like Carol?
Tiger rescue.
Yeah, okay, wait, T, do you actually like Carol or do you just like, are you just being
No,
funny?
no, I actually,
'Cause I can't tell.
I don't think she killed her husband.
She killed her husband.
No, she didn't.
Literally fed her husband to the tigers.
No, because I think there are a lot of other reasons. Innocent until proven guilty. There are a lot of other reasons of what could have happened to him. The whole plane,
Literally
like,
what?
crashing and the water. Okay, and I'm also all about women empowerment. So you have to keep in mind that she is up against these crazy ass men in this industry.
Literally, no. The only reason that I
Do
think
not fault her for her quirks. She is loony. No one's denying that.
the only reason that I think that they're like literally okay. The only thing that I like is keeping me to the fact that he is dead is the fact that I do not think that he would leave behind his money with her. I don't. He was a multimillionaire that hated her. He grew to hate her, and he did not want her to have any of his money.
Was accidental. Whatever happened to him was accidental. Like I don't.
Why did his will say? So Sam, his will said like if he dies or disappears, all of his money goes to her. Nothing went to his biological children. His biological children.
Disappear.
What?
So
Typically, wills don't say disappear.
He's disappeared.
Okay.
But after this whole after the Tiger King series came out, there was a detective that picked on the case. Because it turned into a cold case, so they just let it go. But there was a detective that picked it up because that detective believes that Carol had something to do with it.
I don't know. I also think that people get so carried away with conspiracy theories.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she had found a way to get rid of him without doing it.
I feel
like
like
a Charles Manson case, I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like there might have been like somebody else, like if it was her like helping her. I just don't think it like could be just one person. A lot of things like have another side of a story. So like it'd be like it's not just her, which obviously it's still like if it is, that would be bad. But I feel like there's more to something that we don't know.
It's just it's such a mystery, and as weird and odd as she is, I mean, if there were sufficient evidence to, prosecute her and, imprison her, then they would have done it. And so I guess I'm just one of those, have faith in the system until you can prove it otherwise. And I think her personality and what she's trying to do is noble. The part that irritates me about her and all of them is the hypocrisy. And at the end of the day, she absolutely was, a victim of this murder conspiracy. And so, I mean, it doesn't make any of the things she does okay, but it just kind of adds the entertainment factor of, oh shit, Carol's about to lose it.
I think she's crazy. I think they're all nuts though.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's part of the entertainment of the show is, like I said, it's so unrealistic. It doesn't feel like these are actual people,
I think Mario deserved more screen time. Mario was the drug dealer, the one that would cut open snakes and put cocaine in them and then ship
He's
them
my least favorite. I'm glad they neglected him.
That was your least favorite out of the human trafficker and the murderer, and then Joe's crazy ass. Mario was your least favorite. That's interesting.
Hey, he was a drug dealer for a long time. He's just as crazy and criminal. Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like he was the lead. Well, and what was the guy's name that bought Joe's zoo?
We can't trust any of them.
Oh no, they're all nuts. Honestly though, I need Joe Exotic's music on Spotify ASAP.
Okay, well, moving on, because I don't want to talk about his terrible, atrocious music.
Phenomenal. I don't want to hear it, but okay.
I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on the polygamous lifestyle. Because we see that not only with Joe, but we also see it, of course, with good old Dagavon.
Stop it.
And so, like, do you guys agree with this lifestyle and how it's portrayed in the show? What would that even look like? I personally cannot even imagine being in a polygamist lifestyle.
I feel like that's where I've kind of been like putting it off watching it, because I think I'd be more interested in like the investigation of everything, rather than like their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the stuff I'm interested in. I love like watching criminal movies, like, and all that. So I think that's where I've been kind of putting it off, because I'm just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely not something I really agree with, but I think that's where I'm kind of at.
I feel like once you get like past the first 2 episodes, then it gets into like the criminal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think that I personally don't like care about like polygamy or anything like that. Like, I don't care. Like, you do you.
You wouldn't engage with it?
What?
You wouldn't participate?
I would marry Joe Exotic. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, really? Maybe he'll go straight for you.
I mean, he got 2 men that just like went gay for him. They literally, it was a mess. They were not.
I'm cringing.
I don't know what happened. He married 2 straight men that ended up leaving him for women. Well, one did not leave him, but yeah, that whole thing was, oh my god.
Okay, yeah. Whew.
But anyway, going back to the polygamy. Yeah, like I'm kind of like the you do you type thing. I think what gets me is like, obviously Doc Antle is what fucks me up the most out of these, because like with Joe, it was like, I don't want to say like, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's like with Joe, it wasn't forced. Like,
it didn't feel as much of a grooming situation.
Yeah, like with Doc Antle, it was a grooming situation. Like he preyed on like 16, 17-year-old girls, asked them to come work for him, and waited until they were of age and married them. That's fucking weird. And like, but with Joe, it was just a lot. It was like just so much more different. Like it was a lot more.
Well, and like Doc
sensual.
plays is like the typical characteristics of grooming and like,
Yeah.
of course, you know, polygamy lifestyle, but just the entire situation of like trafficking, like changing their names and giving them these like new personalities and making them work to stay there, like the whole lifestyle itself, it gives polygamy, at least people who do polygamy in the expected way, it gives them a terrible rep, I think.
Yeah.
Granted, I would never partake in the polygamy lifestyle, nor do I have any religious beliefs that contradict polygamy, but yeah, it makes polygamy look bad. And I kind of feel bad for polygamists out there who do it, at least in a decent manner.
I agree with like in both ways. Like I agree with UK, like, you know, if it's not a grooming situation and it's just kind of like obviously all consensual and everything, then like, you know, if as long as everything's like good, then I don't see why that's any of my business really. But I do think in some parts with what's his name? Doc.
Or is it
like
Joe?
we're taking a step back in history, and like that's where like women are kind of being treated unfairly and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm like not okay with that. I just think that's against everything I believe in, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see the whole issues with women kind of being used, especially in Doc's situation.
Yeah, 110.
Terrible. The manipulation, the brainwashing, especially when you get to hear from the perspective of the girl who escaped. You know, she's talking about it, looking into the past and looking at all these experiences, and you can just see it in her eyes and the way that she composes herself, how much she not necessarily regrets it, but she looks back and she realizes, oh my gosh, you know, I in a way was abused.
I feel like too, it really, it's hard because I've learned so much about different cultures that polygamy is normal. So I feel like we're more tempted to be like, oh, that's wrong. Or like, you know what I mean? Not that it's wrong, but just like, because that's how this country is. Because this country doesn't like, I mean, polygamy is something that like some people believe in and practice, but like it's not the norm here. And so like, well, the cultural norm, but versus like, I think there's still like, there's some tribes or something in like, I think Finland or Sweden that still practice polygamy. And then there's like a bunch of, there's like a few places in like Japan, I want to say, that I learned about that like still practice polygamy. And so like, whether it be like a wife with multiple husbands or vice versa, like husband with multiple wives, the husband with multiple wives is a lot more common.
Yeah, right.
But like, so I think it's just because it's just so not normal here. We're just like quick to be like, oh my God, who are these people in Oklahoma that are like polygamists? Like, you know what I mean?
Legally, only one of the wives is married to the husband, typically.
Yeah.
And so the other wives are kind of just there by nature of marriage.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of popular in Utah?
Yeah.
I thought I've heard a lot about it.
It's more typical in the Mormon culture.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like Utah and Iowa, I think.
I think it all just, of course, depends on what you believe in, and like,
yeah,
you know, don't know anybody, even like if it's on Tiger King, like that's Hollywood still. Like, I know it's a documentary and it's not like a reality TV show, but it's still like, and of course it still should be looked at, like if something is going on that's wrong, but I think you got to look at both sides. And
yeah, it surprised me that more people, maybe I'm not involving myself in the discussion boards online, but I'm surprised more people aren't talking about the terrible actions that Doc kind of commits and that lifestyle. You know, there's so much focus, of course, given to Joe and Carol, but for me, the most appalling thing about the whole show, you know, aside from the murder plot, is this whole grooming situation. I just still like processing it to this day. I'm just disgusted.
They like said it and then just went on to talking about like the Tigers, like the Cubs, and I was like, what?
Well, since this happened, his whole park has been shut down. News reports came out about it. It was at the end of the series.
Yeah, he was like, I read something that he was really mad at how the documentary made him look. And I was like, brother, that's literally what's going on.
The way that man talks in that show, you can just tell that he's arrogant and pompous. He knows how to manipulate people. He's very intelligent. He's very, he speaks eloquently. He knows what he's doing. And he's very strategic. And someone like that is scary, especially people who are looking for that attention and are desperate to find meaning in their lives. You know, he's taking these women who are vulnerable. That's the demented and disturbing part about this.
Yeah.
It infuriates me watching it from an outside perspective.
That's crazy. Yeah, Carol Baskin's place is still open, and then Joe Exotic's place is still open, but it's not run by him, obviously. It's run by the guy who bought it from him.
Jeff Lowe.
Yeah, that's his name, Jeff Lowe.
He's the villain of the show, okay? I hate that man. Okay. So, moving on from the polygamous lifestyle, do you think this is an accurate representation of gay culture?
Absolutely.
Coming from you two and not me right now.
Coming from the two people that aren't gay. Cool.
Way to call me out.
I'm sorry I outed you. My bad.
I guess I haven't seen the whole thing. I can't completely answer that very well because I don't know how much they get into it except in some of the first episode.
Want us to educate you?
Well, real quick, I thought that like how Joe Exotic talked about his experiences are kind of the same, like in like the LGBTQ plus community of like being able to express themselves, and like I thought that was really cool to hear. Like I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, like that's really cool that he's like mentioning all this, and it's like not something he wants to hide behind. Like I think that was really cool, but of course from that I don't know anything else of what was talked about.
He ends up marrying two men. So he also engages in a polygamous lifestyle.
Mhm.
His first husband divorces him, and because he ends up getting one of the other.
He knocks up a woman
pregnant.
that was a cash, like she worked the cash register at
Mhm.
Joe Exotic's zoo.
And then the second husband, they find he's super attracted to him, and he gets the first husband to agree to, marry all three of them together. But the second husband ends up becoming addicted to crystal meth, I believe.
Yeah, they were all meth heads.
Hardcore, all of them, and he ends up committing suicide. Yeah, it's devastating, and the worst part is that they show footage of one of his political advisor, who of course helps Joe in his election, but that's a whole nother story. The political advisor watches the second husband kill himself.
The security camera like caught him. It caught the guy like watching it happen. So you caught his reaction. You didn't. You just see this like flash of light that you can tell is a gunshot. But like,
It's
oh my
one
god,
of the harder parts of the show for sure.
Well, is there more than just like the drugs? Like,
he
was there
claimed
any other signs of anything, or like a note left?
he claimed that Joe was not letting him leave,
Mhm.
and like there was a whole bunch of stuff. But then there's like all these other people that are like, well, that's not true. Like you literally just don't even know. You literally don't know what's true and what's not in the show.
It's very unclear as to whether or not the suicide was intentional, because apparently he was fiddling with the gun and it could have accidentally went off. I mean, the guy who witnessed it said, he just didn't think it would actually happen. Like it had to take a couple moments for him to actually process it.
I think he intentionally did it.
Right. I mean, and part of that was like, he was also caught up with other women too, and sleeping with women, and I can't imagine engaging in a lifestyle that I didn't, actually feel comfortable in. If you wasn't gay, if all that is, ostensibly true, like, yeah. I mean, engaging in this lifestyle for what? For free living? It's really, really, really hard to even think about and imagine.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, it's just like it's hard too because like right after that happened, Joe literally got married 2 months later.
Yeah. I know. It's like I don't know if I feel bad for Joe and like his whole, oh, he's falling for straight men and he's engaging in this lifestyle, or if like, I mean, did he ask for this? Was he blind in these choices that he made? I don't know. It's really hard. Does it make me insensitive? And I don't know if I actually believe that. Part of me is like, it could have happened to anyone. He was falling for these men that seemed to care. And by all means, I mean, the relationships, as of course, drug addicted they were and ridiculous, at the end of the day, it's love. No one can put a label on love. So
and grief as well.
Mm-hmm.
It hits everybody differently. So
right.
You don't really know how much everything takes an effect, but yeah.
No, I mean, I think and how you were talking about his coming out process and kind of the initial experience, I think that's very relatable. And I'm glad they kind of showed that. But after like the rest of it, it just kind of just becomes a shit show from there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that like the show itself touched on like Joe's past, but what pissed me off is that like just the blatant disrespect of like little things. So like the one of the guys that worked at Joe Exotic's like place was a trans man, and they continued to misgender him the entire show and didn't do anything about it. And like,
I don't get that.
Apparently,
like, I'm surprised he didn't say something. He must have said something after the fact.
Well, I don't think they saw it before like it was released.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure he would have said something, but also like that's just such a hard thing. Like how are you, like, you know what I mean? Like I'd be scared to be like, oh hi.
Right. It's so funny because we're talking about this ridiculous, crazy ass functions and this whole zoo keeping. All of it's just kind of absurd, and then it has all this crazy intersectional cultural sort of background to it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to think about it. Still to this day, especially with with the gay culture behind this. Gays on Twitter, let me tell you, they are eating this show up. They think it's hilarious. They're talking about partner costumes for Halloween. They're making gay memes out of it, like cross-dressing as Joe and Carol, like all of it.
Oh
And
my
I'm
god,
like,
let's do that. I'll be Joe Exotic and you be Carol Baskin.
agreed. I think it would be the perfect multicultural experiment. Drag performance, anyone?
That would be so interesting. Have Joe Exotic's music and everybody's.
Oh my god, I know what my final project's gonna be.
Right. Maybe we should just switch it off.
I'm gonna write the music. I'm telling you, I'm gonna write the musical.
Can we not see that? I
would love
prefer
that.
not.
Can we not see that?
It'd be garbage.
You're garbage.
Although you might get a lot of fans coming in spending money just for the sake of seeing the travesty occur before their eyes.
I get rich. I get rich.
That's the tea, sis.
And that's the tea, sisters.
So, I mean, are there any other thoughts you have revolving around the show and the legacy it's now left within our culture today?
I need more.
I don't know if I want more.
I need more.
I kind of
The very ending, like, where did it leave you? Like, there could be more to tell.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
do you think it was a good ending for you?
So Joe goes to jail. Joe goes to jail because he was involved in this murder plot. Hypothetically, I think he was, of course, but he was involved in this murder plot to kill Carol because, you know, Carol was taking everything away from him and filing all these lawsuits against him. That he took measures into his own hands and hired one of Jeff Lowe's sort of assistants that came onto the property to go and kill her. Well, of course, they end up hiring other people. I can't remember the one guy's name. He has the
They
awkward.
basically found people that were friends with Joe Exotic, and the FBI granted them immunity if they told the FBI everything that they knew and essentially set Joe up. But the funny thing is that when the FBI tells you they're granting you immunity, they're not. They're literally getting exactly what they want, and then they're going to go back and look at your case and how you were involved, which is exactly what they're doing right now.
Right. So now they're going after all the people that were involved.
So basically, I low-key, like, although I do think that, like, I don't think Joe Exotic would have killed Carol. I really don't. I don't think that he had the balls to pull that trick off. I really don't. Like, I don't think that he would actually kill her because he knows that he would lose everything if he did. And I think that he just talks a mean game because obviously you can tell he has, like, anger issues and just, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I think he just talks a talk but doesn't walk a walk. And so I think when all of them found out, like, oh shit, we're going to get in trouble, I honestly kind of felt bad that he had all of these really close people in his life that just immediately turned on him.
Right. Well, and I think that's the key question here and the key perspective, I think, that brings this scenario. Do I think that he would kill Carol? Yes, I do, because I think culture kind of led him to that, you know, all these different lifestyles from keeping these exotic animals and knowing that it's kind of going against the typical rules of society, along with being this sort of outsider as a gay man, and the drug-riddled existence that he lived, the whole combination of these lifestyles, you know, kind of led him down this path of destruction, and kind of watching a train wreck, really. And it's sad, you know. Is it his fault? Yes and no.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I don't think there's going to be, oh my God, everything's falling. I don't think that I feel like if there is any more, like, episodes, it would be about, like, what they're finding out now. It wouldn't be, like, anything that this show was necessarily talking about.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to see in the future what comes out. I mean, as far as everything goes currently, Joe's in jail, but they could get interviews with him still in there. Who knows?
Oh my
And
God,
who
I
knows
know.
where Carol's gonna go? Clearly, there have been developments with good old Doc Docavon. You know, God, Mr. God Almighty. Let's all praise him.
No, he's the worst.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'd recommend people watch Tiger King so that they can kind of absorb this lifestyle and kind of see this lens of society that I don't think a lot of us see, especially those of us three in Ohio. That is not typical of our daily lifestyles, although there are many exotic zoos in Ohio. Little did I know before watching the show.
You didn't know that? You didn't know
I
there was.
did not.
You didn't know about the guy in Zanesville?
I knew about that guy, but I'm sorry that I don't know about these crazy exotic zoos in and around me.
No, Zanesville was wild because when that happened, it was so close to Columbus. There was literally a lion in like Columbus when I was in school. They were like, "Be careful! There's a lion on Route 67."
Scared that you're gonna be chopped liver for them.
Well, that's the thing is that these people are so selfish because when all of that happened and he killed himself, they killed all of those animals. The police shot every single one of
they
the
did.
animals. He had like 60 of them, and they
sad.
killed them all. And I was like, for what? Being an animal? That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's why you just shouldn't have animals you're not supposed to have.
Yep.
Get a fucking dog.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, the most alarming thing to take away from this, other than all these crazy cultures, is animal cruelty.
get a dog.
Hashtag clout is all they want.
Yeah, honestly. Hashtag clout.
Sam, I think you and Carol Baskin would be besties.
I don't at all.
Why do you do this to me every time? You're like,
I really don't think.
person would be besties, and I'm like,
Carol Baskin and Sam Benson.
Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
Whacked him.
Are there any thoughts on Tiger King before we close this episode?
I have a really important one. Ethan, I think that you and Jeff Lowe would be besties.
I don't.
Haha.
However, Carol Baskin, bring her my way. This is my call to everyone out there to make things happen and to make Carol Baskin and I meet.
Oh my God, can Carol Baskin be on the podcast?
Oh, can we have her on here?
He'd
Carol,
say,
I am on your team, honey.
"Hey, cool cats and kittens."
Hey, cool cats and kittens.
Welcome
She's
to
very delicate in your demeanor. She's very like, she's here to like pet you and soothe you and calm you, you know.
Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Okay, well, if all we're gonna do is nitpick Carol, I think it's time for this episode to come to a close.
I hate you being the host and having the power. Switch it over to me.
And that's T's Company.
And that is T's Company. We'll be back.
T's Company. Oh my God,
We'll
you
be
can
back with another episode here soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.